Greetings, welcome back to the channel. It's Olusegun Morrison here. I'm still crawling before I walk, and one thing I realize I have to do is I've got to get some RAM in my computer or upgrade my hardware. And another thing that I've been working with or having a challenge with is getting my DAW audio into my screen recordings. So it's like I can record my screen if it has something else that's going on, but the thing that's important, what I wanted to be able to do was show you how I'm making my music as I'm making it, so that I can bring you through the process, and you can be there as we're building it up, because I'm talking about music and I haven't even really made anything yet. Usually artists will have a whole catalog of completed work, and then they'll select this and select that and release it out. But I'm gonna start from scratch, and you guys are gonna be right there as an audience, as I'm building up what I'm building up. And so what I was gonna do tonight, I was gonna record this video of me beatboxing to one of my loops that I have, and then after that I was gonna try something with Runway ML, which is an AI video generator, and do some special effects with it. That was my plan, and I'm that's what I'm gonna do after I shoot this video. But I didn't want to leave you guys too long without making a video giving you an update as to what's going on. But also, something happened this week that hit me close to home. There was a 15-year-old who was gunned down in the neighborhood where I grew up in. Like I grew up in the buildings down the street, but also he was killed in the same place, like in the same neighborhood where one of my old friends was also killed 3 years ago. Let me just share my screen and show you. Let me just show you this is the news report.
Action are growing after a spate of citywide gun violence over the weekend. This memorial here marks the spot where a 15-year-old boy lost his life. And those I've been talking to in this neighborhood tell me they don't feel safe and haven't for a while.
It was very shocking.
Now, the thing that bothers me is that this memorial right here that you can see, there's like social media of let me just share that with you here. Okay, let me just make sure I'm sharing it here as well. Whoops. Okay, that's how it works. You see, I'm testing as I'm doing this, but let me just show you this right here. This is what happened. Like, I have to show you to see that I'm not just saying that. The problem I have with that is that my friend who was killed in the neighborhood, he was just there visiting his mom. He didn't really have nothing to do with anything. What worries me is when there's a flare up like this, it's like anyone or anything can happen anywhere, and I worry about that. And like, isolation sometimes is a survival mechanism when you're from the streets. I know that's sort of my survival mechanism. I really keep to myself. I don't really get involved with people. I don't have a lot of close relationships, and it's sort of difficult to build community when your friendships are like criminalized. I mean, that's one of the things about growing up in the hood that was really difficult. It's like, if you want to have a social life, right? The social life is the street life in the projects, right? Now there are other avenues, right? Like, that news program is going to go on to talk about sentencing and having harsher bail conditions. But 20 years ago, they were talking about the same thing. They increased the sentences. They have harsher bail conditions. But what the news and most people don't speak about is, a lot of times when these raids happen, just anyone who's connected in any way gets caught up in these raids. And if you don't have the money to have a good lawyer, then those harsher bail conditions are going to come down on you too, right? And then the pressure is just put on. And these neighborhoods just happens to be where we have a high concentration of our people. And it's just constant surveillance, criminalization. And these young kids, they don't get to hear from our generation who's been through it, telling them, listen, when you're doing what you're doing, you thinking you're getting away with it, but they're just watching you. They're watching you, and at a certain point, they're gonna come kick off your door in the middle of the night, and your life is gonna change, and it'll never be the same, and you might not even see road again, right? And also, you could go to the wrong place at the wrong time, and next thing you know, boom, you get gunned down, like it's serious. But we're completely disconnected from our community, and I have to look at it in a certain way too, with my own responsibility. Like I've been dealing with writer's block, being one of these people who will criticize the culture and talk about, oh, the music should have more substance, and or we're contributing to our own self destruction in our culture, but talking about it's useless. Because at the end of the day, when you go to sit and write down a song yourself, you see how difficult it is. If I had like a limit and I had to make a song in 4 hours, it'll probably be the same kind of music that you're hearing all the time. And I bet you a lot of these artists are under that kind of pressure. You got to put out music on a regular basis, right? And if you don't stay consistent, people will forget about you. Your music will drop off. And that's what people are worried about. So instead, they got to keep coming with stuff and keep coming with stuff, right? But what I have to do and the responsibility I got to take, and I'm looking into the camera right now and putting pressure on myself. I've got to put out some music. I have to express myself artistically, because what happens for those of us who grew up in the streets, some of us are passive and we're not really trying to get involved. We're not trying to step on people's toes or gain clout. We just grew up in the projects, and that just happens to be our environment, and we're social. So we're in the neighborhood. But at the end of the day, that life, it traumatizes everybody. And as a passive person, it's like I've allowed the culture to block my writing and block me as an artist. And it's time that I have to push back and build something and create something. I can't allow my talent to be wasted. And I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, because all of you who are watching, unless you grew up with me, you'll be like, who is this guy, thinking that he has talent and thinking he can put out some music? Well, subscribe to my channel and you'll see. But yeah, it's something that, it's a lane that I'm going to take, right? Because this is the lane that I feel I've put in my 10,000 hours, if you know what I mean. From that lane, I want to transport into learning our history, having knowledge of self. And what I'm also realizing is, as I got to work on my physical conditioning as well. All of this is encompassing in this channel. And it's important that we build an audience, because I remember what it was like during what I would call like a flare up, when neighborhoods are in a certain situation where there's a lot of violence. I had to have special contingency plans. I had to strategize how I was going to go to the convenience store. I had to really deal with when I was going to go and get groceries, when I would go and buy food, and I would take certain type of routes, and I would have to look into every single car and look into people's face and make sure that they don't have any ill intentions towards me. And if people are driving weird or driving funny or driving strange, it's like my heart would just... And here's the deal, like, people who are living in these neighborhoods, they have to go through this. And from my experience, many of us, you see, all of us can connect again as friends, because in our heart, we're not really trying to be thugs. That wasn't really what was in our heart. But we're in an environment and we don't know what the next person has on their mind. And we just have to think, yo, at the end of the day, I have to think about what my safety is all about. And then all of this confusion and lack of communication and lack of being able to reason, and we don't have any way to adjudicate our matters. Next thing you know, it's a powder keg. and it's all set up by design. But here's the deal: what I want to show you on this channel is there are people out there who are overcoming. You see what I'm saying? There is a lot of knowledge out there about who we are as a people. And so we build an audience, we can connect up with other people who have an audience, right? And so these first initial videos, as I'm crawling before I'm walking, I'm really directing it to the people who know me already. So if you recognize my face, and you know me, just subscribe to the channel, because it's like you're checking me at my house. And I'm gonna tackle a whole lot of different things, but this is about my own self growth, because I think working inward and working on myself will have a more outward impact than directly criticizing the world outwardly. And I'm gonna have to do something about my music. I'm gonna have to put something out there, and hopefully it's something that I could listen to and I'd be like, okay, you know what, this could be influential in a positive way, because music is spiritual and they've hijacked our music. And the problem isn't the rhythm of the music, it's not the style of the music. The problem is the ownership of the music. But anyways, it's just I just had to get that off of my chest and update you, keep you updated. And I'll have another video coming up soon. Look out for my poetry. I'm gonna be dropping some poetry and some. I'm gonna see what I can do and create a music video and just let's just have fun on this channel. Anyway, subscribe to the channel. It's Olusegun Morrison, and just stay safe. All right, peace.